Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala ashraf al-khalq wa azz al-mursaleen. Siyama khatamihim wa afdalihim wa ahsanihim Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ala ahli baytihi tayyibin tahirin alladhina adhaba anhum rijsa wa tahharahum tathira. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is lesson number 6, and we are still continuing with the tafsir, every time giving small installments of Surah Fatiha. We've said we first employ the manhaj al-lughawi, the linguistic methodology, because Holy Quran was revealed in Arabic. Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyan. He revealed it in an Arabic Quran. So, because it is Arabic, we need to apply some of the rules of Nahu, some of the rules of Sarf, some of the rules of Balagha, etc., and Nathar and Sha'r, and all of those that has to do with the linguistic methodology. So that from onset we must first apply, understand the Quran fi asr nas, as it was understood, and use the language as the language was used at the time when the Holy Quran was revealed. So that Arabic we need to understand in order to understand the Holy Quran. As we've said, the tafsir, meaning of the word tafsir comes from the word fasara, meaning idah, meaning to give clarity to, meaning to shed light upon, meaning to make things a bit clear that is not so easily understood. So with that in mind, let us just recap what we have said the last time. We were here at Iyyaka na'bud wa Iyyaka nasta'een. And we've said, and we've given you these examples, and we've said when you put the object in front, and then the subject and the verb, this is in Arabic, this is not in English actually, but in Arabic, when you do this, then you limit this action, the verb, the action, the doing, only to the object. Unlike here, when you say, for example, John eats, and here is a myriad, he has a buffet of whatever he can eat. The list is endless. Apples, pears, watermelon, pizza, bread, fish, whatever. Here is an option. But when we put in Arabic, the maf'ulun bihi, the object in front, as Allah says, Iyyaka, this is the object, na'bud, you we worship, and you we ask for help. Already here Allah is referring to, yes, Tawheedul Ibadah. Right, Tawheedul Ibadah means you ask Allah and Allah alone, unlike our other faiths where people used to ask other deities who do not actually exist, but other deities which they have created. Allah is the sole deity. Allah is the sole Rabb, the only Rabb. There is none other than Allah. There is none. Allah is the only creator, as he has mentioned here. We've mentioned here as well, Maliki Yawmiddin, Malik, and we've said this is allowed in Surah Fatiha. You are allowed to say Malik, or you are allowed to say Malik Yawmiddin. And that is accepted because Allah is Malik and is also Malik, as we have lots of ahadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Maybe next time we will bring some of those ahadith where the Holy Prophet admonished or allowed, you are allowed to say Malik or you are allowed to say Malik, because Allah is both. That is the different types of qira'at. Okay, and now we come to Ihdina. After you now ask Allah for help and you worship Allah only, Now Allah is showing you how to ask, what to ask. And here it's come from Hidayah. Oh Allah, you guide us. As-sirat. Let us just look here at the alif and lam. Allah didn't use the word here, sirat, a path. Allah used the path, the straight way, mustaqim, the straight way. And that is very interesting because there's only one specific way to Allah. One specific way. There is not a lot of that. And we will inshallah explain that now. Unlike here, when we refer to Allah, here Allah is referring here to the nakira. Allah didn't say here alif and lam. The master of the day of judgment, or the master of a time when the deen will be actually really implemented, manifested, as we've said. This is especially in the case, some of the mufassirin, especially in the case of Dawlatun Karima, in the time of Mahdawiyah. Here Allah didn't use the word alif and lam. His sovereignty here is indefinite, hence the indefinite particle, the indefinite. He is the absolute sovereign, and He is infinity, and His sovereignty, His dominion is infinite, and He is the boss. He is the absolute sovereign. However, when it comes to as-sirat, Allah didn't use here nakira, the indefinite particle. He used here the definite particle. There's a definite path to Him. There's a definite way to Him. And what is that way? Here Allah defined. Here's even a definition of that road, of this path. And what is it? الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ. The path of who? Not the path of any Tom, Dick and Harry. Not the path of anyone. No, a special path. And which path is that? The path which Allah, those ones whom Allah has given ni'mah, whom Allah has endowed with His blessing. The path of those masters. And not the path of those who go astray. It is not. So here we see that Allah has defined. He has a definition of the sirat. It is a straight way. It is a way directly to Allah, which is in the previous ayah. In fact, the ayah states, Iyaka na'bud. When you worship, when you ask Allah for help, now, wa iyaka nasta'in, you ask Him, only Him. No one else. So here we have already how the one ayah intertwines with the other one. The next one give clarity to the other one. It's very interesting when we look at, for example, Iyyaka na'bud wa Iyyaka nasta'in. Now we are supposed to recite this in our 5 times a day, at least the 17 rak'ats. Of at least the farl, the wajibat salah, the farl. That is at least the wajibat. Here Allah is referring now, when you are praying, when you perform salah, it makes logical sense that I am worshipping Allah. I am asking Allah for help, but here Allah didn't use the I. A'bud wa asta'in. I worship you and I ask you for help. Allah didn't use that form. Allah used nahnu, we, indicating already we're supposed to think about us. We're supposed to think about the collective, not your ego. Not you are now when we are praying to Allah. We are important. Yes, you are important in some sense, to some degree, and that is a different case. But when Allah is referring to Salah, your mind must be selfless. You don't think of you only. You think about everybody else. You think about the collective. As Hazrat Zahra Salamullah alayha used to say, Al-Jar thumma dar. When we make dua, how do we make dua? You first ask your jar. You first pray for the neighbor. You first pray for the ones outside of your house. Thumma dar. Then you ask for your family, for your near ones, the ones in your house. Then you pray for them. Why? Allah wants to cut the ego. He wants to cut the ananiya, the self, that you should develop a takabbur, that I am important. No. In this case, even if you pray alone, you say we. You do not say I. And that is very, very interesting. That here Allah wants to train us. He wants to teach us. Think in terms of the collective. Think in terms of the well-being of the Jama'at, the well-being of everybody. And this is quite interesting when we see the na'bud. We have to even if you make salah on your own, if you pray on your own, you will have to say na'bud. We worship and we ask you for help. And then again, there is the guide us. It's not about guide me. You think again in terms of the collective. Oh Allah, guide us to that is definite. There's a definite path to Allah. A definite path. And that path is straight. Indicating here, when you ask Allah directly, not through a third person or a fourth person or a fourth medium or a third medium. No. Iyaka na'bud, you directly we ask for help. And that road is a straight path. It is straight. And then Allah is defining this path here where He says, the path of those on whom Allah has bestowed His favors, His grace. And who are those? We will get to that inshallah. And not the path of those who earn their anger. And here it is quite interesting where some of the mufassirin are saying that the maghdub, these are, some of these, the maghdub and the daleen are, our sister faith of the Abrahamic faith, and this usually is referred to, the Jews, and the other one is the Christians. That is quite interesting, and they should come back to the path where the ni'mah was bestowed on all of the masters. So, that being said, we will leave that, and inshallah, in lesson 7, we will continue with the tafsir, and we bring the various forms of tafsir, etc. That was the linguistic interpretation, the linguistic definition, or rather the linguistic methodology. We will come back to the Surah Al-Fatiha and give an overall of the Mufassirin, inshallah. Again, we deal here, this is the important chapter of the Holy Quran, and the most important of all the surahs of the Holy Quran. Al-Fatiha is the most important. It is the basis, it is the crown, so to speak, it is the heart of the Holy Quran. And of all of the 7 ayats, the most important of the 7, which ayah is it? Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The whole message of Allah Azza wa Jalla Jalala is encapsulated in the Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This alone Allah introduces Himself as the absolute sovereign. And that is, with that, inshallah, we will continue, inshallah, next week with the next installment. And with that, we say it again, we do not claim that this is absolute. We do not claim this is absolute or haqq al-mutlaq. We are doing it to the best of our ability. Allahu al-hadi. Allah is the guide. And inshallah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.